Greetings. You've no doubt heard about all this stuff with the National Association of Realtors and the lawsuits in Missouri and the settlement agreements and all this kind of thing. So how does that affect you? If you're looking to buy a property, what do you need to know? What has changed that's going to affect you? Well, the first thing that you need to know is no longer can the buyer agent compensation be indicated in our multiple listing. So therefore, on the sheet back here where it says buyer agency and a percentage, that was the agreement, if you will, between firms that this firm is going to pay a buyer agent this much if you bring a buyer and buy this listing. How did that come about? It goes something like this. The listing agent talks to the seller. Seller, you've asked me to sell your house. This is what I charge. Now, what I would like to do is I would like to cooperate with the buyer's agent. Anyone that brings the buyer to your property and they sell it, I would like to take what you're paying me and give some money to them to cooperate with them. 9 times out of 10, the seller's going to say, oh, yeah, that's fine. So that's where it would come from, and they would put it on the MLS when they listed the property. That's the first thing. That's no longer going to be shown. So when you say I want to see a property, I have no idea what I'm going to get paid. Of course, I don't look at those anyway. I don't care. My job is to find you a property, right? But at the same time, nobody works for free. So what we're going to have to do now is, as agents, is we will call the listing agent and say, hey, I got a client that's possibly interested in your property. Are you going to do the cooperative compensation? If they say no, then you have a decision to make. If they say yes, you have a decision to make. That's the first thing. The next thing is, you're going to love this. You know how when you meet with an agent, they are supposed to, hopefully they do, go over a Working with Real Estate Agents brochure with you, and they get you this little 1-page thing that you're supposed to sign, and it's simply an acknowledgement that you've received this document that we've gone over Working with Real Estate Agents, and you might even get a little brochure. You know, you're supposed to sign that. Y'all don't even want to sign that. So how in the world am I going to be able to do what I need to do in this next piece? The next change has been we have to get you to sign a buyer agency agreement before we show you property. North Carolina is only one of 18 states that currently has a buyer agency agreement in place. So the states that don't have it, they're going to have to scramble and get it. The second thing is, in North Carolina, we only had to have the buyer agency agreement in place sometime prior to submitting an offer. Now, that could be the first time we meet up, you're signing this if you want me to work for you. Or it could be somewhere during the process, or it could be just before an offer is submitted. No more. You have to sign this before we go show you property. So basically, if you want to see, you have to sign. So what is a buyer agency agreement anyway? Let me put it to you like this. Because I've run into a lot of buyers over the years who don't really understand how real estate works. Everybody is an independent contractor. All real estate agents are independent contractors. We may work under a company umbrella. We may hang our license there, but we're an independent contractor. We are not a W-2 employee or any of that kind of stuff. And I don't want to be a W-2 employee. So we're independent contractors. Our brokerage that we work for, they have certain standards that they follow, certain commissions that they charge, fees they charge, that kind of thing. Those are set within the companies. Each company can do their own thing. An agent can possibly negotiate something out and get approval of the broker in charge, but everything is negotiable. So when you call now to go see a property, you're going to have to sign one of these. What this means for you, have you ever been engaged? Do you keep dating other people when you get engaged? No, I would hope not. Do you marry somebody else when you're still engaged to the first person? Again, I would hope not. So in real estate, what this buyer agency agreement is and what it does. You, as the buyer, are engaging the firm to partner with you to help you find a property with terms that are acceptable to you at a price that you can afford. You're engaging us to be your advocate, your negotiator, your sounding board, your best friend, your worst enemy, your shoulder to cry on. We are basically your partner through this process. You have engaged the firm. So once you have engaged the firm, you don't go call other agents. Don't date other agents. Now, what if you don't like the agent that's showing you properties? Well, you have to terminate that agency agreement. You've got to break off that engagement. It's a simple 1 page, 1 sheet of paper kind of thing. You sign it, it's done, no big deal. If you do not break off the engagement and you go and look at other properties with another agent and you actually get under contract with another agent on a property and you've never terminated the first agreement, you're on the hook to pay that first agent because the buyer agency agreement lays all this out. So, how long does your buyer agency agreement have to be for? Look, I don't know you. I'm not going to do this justice. But I had someone tell me, listen, we're down here visiting our friends, and I called about a piece of property. And the girl says, I got to sign some buyer agency agreement. I ain't signing nothing. I don't know that from nobody. Why would I sign this when I don't even know her? So I talked to my friends, because, we're down here visiting with our friends, and they moved down here years ago. I miss them so much. We used to be neighbors. But we told them, I said, look, what is this buyer agency agreement thing? Why do I have to sign this thing? And my friend, she told me, you know what, there's this girl, her name is Beth, and she has a radio show on Fridays at 8:30, and you need to call her. She talks about real estate. Call her, she will help you. Can you help me? I'm like, yes, I absolutely can help you. The buyer agency agreement, the first page, let's go over that one first. The type of property, the term of the agreement, the compensation of the firm, and the effect of the agreement. The type of property, are you looking for residential? Are you looking for commercial building? Are you looking for land? What do you need? And where are we going to look for it? Are you looking to be within 30 minutes of your job? I know what that looks like. Are you looking to be in a certain area? Do you need to be close to something, certain schools? How wide are we casting our net? Is it just this county, or is it, multiple counties? Page 1, the effect of the agreement. By employing the firm, I'm going to read this to you so you understand it. Now, keep in mind, this was written by attorneys. $20 words when a 5-cent one will do. I work for attorneys. I understand. By employing the firm as the buyer's exclusive agent, buyer, that's you, agrees to conduct all negotiations for such property through the firm and to refer to the firm all inquiries received in any form from other real estate firms, prospective sellers, or any other source during the time this agreement is in effect. So we are engaged. If you want to see a property, you tell me. You don't call the number on the sign. If a seller tells you, listen, hey, I'm getting ready to sell my property. Are you interested? You call my agent. No. You're going to be engaged to the firm. Now, the term of the agreement, and this is extremely important right here. This is what is going to help you not be so scared about signing this agreement. The term of the agreement does not have to be for anything longer than a day. It does not have to be a week, does not have to be 7 days, it does not have to be a month. Some people are probably going to tell you, well, you can't really get to know me on just one house or just one day. So we really want you to sign it for a week. Okay, If you want to sign it for a week, sign it for a week. But understand, everything is negotiable. You're not required to do anything except sign this form before I can show you property. And this is going to take place in a couple of months. So get ready now. So this can be for a day. In fact, let me explain to you the term of the agreement. It says, if you intend to purchase a single property, this agreement shall terminate. It shall end when the buyer acquires real property of the part described in paragraph 1, the residential land, whatever. So either when you buy a property or at 11:59 on a certain date. If you don't know me from Adam, and most of you may not, so hopefully this video will help you a little bit. If you don't know somebody, you may not want to be married to them for a long time or be engaged to them for a long time. So sign it for a day. Say, listen, I'll give you a day, I'll give you 2 days because there's about 5 properties we want to see. Great. Then, after they've shown you, these properties for that one day, if you like the way they're treating you, if you like the information you're being given, then say, you know what? Yeah, hey, look, I want you to help. Let's keep going with this thing. Great. We'll just extend it. That's not a problem. Extending, you don't have to re-sign everything. We just mark through and change the date and you initial. That's the term of the agreement. It does not have to be forever, okay? This is just, it can be for a day, a week, a month, whatever. Now then, the elephant in the room is the compensation. Do you work for free? I didn't think so. Me either. Imagine that. So the compensation of the firm, now we could charge you a retainer fee. I had a client, I showed him like 46 houses. I didn't charge a retainer fee. So, and here's the thing you need to understand. You're not paying me for my gas. You're not paying me for my time. You're not paying me per house that I show you. You're not paying me for researching. You're not paying me anything if you do not find a house. So the wear and tear on my car, my insurance premiums, my MLS fees, my realtor fees, all that kind of stuff, I have to pay for out of my pocket. So some people may ask for a non-refundable retainer fee. Then you've got the buyer agrees that the firm's fees for services shall be in the amount of whatever. Now it can be a percentage, it can be a dollar amount. Typically it's a percentage. It's easier to deal with percentages. Sometimes you may look at houses for a long time. Sometimes you may find one, the first house might be it. When you tell me what you're looking for, I really try to find that house that checks all the boxes. But we'll see other houses as well. And if you keep comparing the other houses that I show you to that first house, that should tell you that first house is the one. So we're going to do our best to help you find what you need because we're partners in this. You have engaged the firm to help you find a property. So you're going to agree to my fee. We'll negotiate, talk it out, whatever. But then here's where people freak out. They're like, what if I don't have the money to pay you? When am I supposed to pay you? How am I supposed to pay you? Where am I supposed to get the money? Is it going to be rolled into my loan? Oh my goodness, am I going to have to pay interest on that? And really, frankly, you don't necessarily want it rolled into your loan because that's going to cost you more money in the long run. That will cause your payment to increase, and we don't want a high payment. So here's what you need to understand too. The next paragraph under the fee amount states that the fee shall seek the fee from a cooperating listing firm or from the seller if there's no listing firm. If you've got a for sale by owner that you want to see, you've called me. I've called the for sale by owner person. I've told them about you. I've found out about the house, and I've asked them if they'll pay me. If they say no, then you're going to have to pay me. If the buyer agrees that the firm shall be entitled to receive the same in consideration for the firm's services hereunder. So in essence, if the listing agent is not allowed to share the cooperation, if they're not allowed to do the cooperation compensation, then you're going to be on the hook to pay me. That's where this piece comes in. Buyer agency is no longer shown on our MLS. So I don't know if I'm getting paid or not. So before we go show a property, I'm calling the listing agent. I'm saying, hey, listen, I've got a client that's interested in this property. Is your seller allowing you to do cooperative compensation? If they say no, then what I'm going to do is I'll indicate somewhere on this MLS sheet that they are not paying me, and I will give you the dollar amount that you would be on the hook for if you bought this house. And I will say, okay, let's say you wanted to see 5 properties, and 3 of the properties will pay the buyer agent fee, and 2 of them will not. On those 3 that will, you're good to go. On the 2 that will not, you have to decide, can you come up with that money to pay me if one of those 2 houses are the ones that you want to buy? Now, there may be something, this is still kind of evolving, so we're still trying to figure out, is there some way that we can work it into a concession or anything like that? In North Carolina, again, it's really not that big of a deal in North Carolina, because we have explained to our sellers, we give our sellers a seller net sheet. So when they sell their house, if they sell it for $200,000, that seller net sheet deducts the any mortgage balance they owe, it deducts the attorney fee, it deducts the broker fee, it deducts prorated taxes, prorated HOA, any kind of closing costs that they're going to pay on behalf of the buyer. And so at the bottom, the total amount paid out, and then the net due to seller. So the seller already knows, oh, okay, yeah, that's fine. Let's go ahead and cooperate with the buyer. If they do not cooperate with the buyer, then part of that, they may not get as many people seeing it, but it's not up to the agent. It's up to you as the buyer, because if you cannot pay, and that's the house you want, how are you going to get the house? This is the kind of thing we're working through. And various states are going to have to work through it. But like I said, North Carolina, we've been doing this for a long time, and we've not had any trouble or any problems with it. So I think we're going to be okay. But just so you understand, this is the thing I want you to understand. When we're engaged to find a property together that meets your needs, you need to have all the information you possibly can. This buyer agency agreement also points out what's expected of you as the buyer. You're going to use the firm exclusively. You're not going to call every Tom, Dick, and Harry you see on the street and ask them about a house. If you want to see a house, you call me. If I cannot show you the house, I will arrange to have it shown to you by someone else. You don't do that. I do that. All you need to worry about is you need to be pre-qualified. You need to know exactly what your non-negotiables are with that house, where you need to be, what are you looking for. And if you are married or you've got a partner, you guys need to talk about this kind of thing and work it out amongst yourself, because I am not a marriage counselor. So I don't want to be showing you 10 houses and one of you say, oh, yes, this is perfect. And the other's like, yeah, I don't like it. Hello, we don't have time for this. Work all that stuff up ahead of time. Okay, so the buyer agency agreement is a contract where you're engaging the firm to be your partner in helping you to find a property. The other thing, what benefit do you get from this document? Well, first off, you get to see this, because no sign, no see. No sign, no show. The second thing is you become a client. If you're just a customer, then there's only so far you can go. If you're not a member of a club, or if you're not a member or have membership in something, you can't get the membership services. If your car breaks down and you don't have AAA, are they going to come tow you? Well, you're not a member. So we can't do the towing for free and that kind of thing. You have to be a member. So what does this buyer agency do? It elevates your status from customer to client. You are now going to get more than just the MLS sheet. You're going to get more than just the property disclosures. As a customer, I only owe you honesty. As a client, I owe you honesty, loyalty, giving you the best advice I possibly can, following your directions, doing what you have asked me to do with regard to helping you find a house, with negotiations and everything else. And you have agreed to be honest and truthful and tell me what I need to know, where you want to be, if there's personal information I need to know, if there's financial information I need to know. So as my client, we're kind of joined at the hip a little bit. But that also means that you are going to get more than a customer would get. You're not going to get just this, but you're going to get all these things as well. This one doesn't have as much in it because we didn't have all the documentation that they were looking for. This was a foreclosure, and they don't have certain documents on here. So anyway, you're going to get the MLS sheet. You're going to get the property information card. You're going to get the property tax bill. You're going to get the deed. If there are covenants and restrictions, you're going to get those. If I can find out what internet is out there, I'll let you know that too. But now you're going to have to, if you've got to have internet because you work from home, you're going to have to do your due diligence. You got to get some skin in the game. If you're concerned about the neighborhood, call the police department. The guy that is over that neighborhood, he'll call you back, and he can tell you, oh, people just aren't kind to one another, so we have some squabbles from time to time, or there's a drug house half a mile down, or whatever. But they can tell you that kind of information. You're going to get, if there's any restrictions, what are those restrictions? Is there a road maintenance agreement in place? If so, who do I pay? How often do I pay? When do they take care of the road? HOA, is there an HOA? What are the covenants and restrictions? What's the HOA fee? Is this house in a subdivision? If it's in a subdivision, sometimes a particular house, if it's really just outside the gate or something, it may not be part of the subdivision. So you've got that. Everything that I can possibly find out. I'm going to get you the plat of the property, if there is one, the survey, the GIS overview picture of the GIS, so you can see, is there a chicken house here, there a yawn, is there a train track here. I'm going to get you everything I can possibly find on this property, and you're going to have more information than you probably think you want. Everybody that I've ever had, all of my buyers have always said, you give me books. Yes, I do, because you're making the biggest investment of your life. You need as much information as you can. So you are now my client, not just my customer. Now, if you sign the buyer agency agreement for one day and you call me back the next day and you're like, can we go see these houses? I'm going to be like, then we need to extend the buyer agency agreement. Again, that is not a problem. But just understand, the buyer agency agreement is an agreement. It is a legally binding document. Don't go date other agents when you're engaged to my firm. Don't go call other agents if you're engaged to my firm, because we are now partners trying to go for the same goal. I will help you negotiate. We're going to go and educate you on the process from the beginning to the end. How to negotiate, what's due diligence money, what's earnest money, why do I have to put either one down? Do I get one back over the other? Why wouldn't I get this one back? Do I have to have a home inspection? Well, yes, I think you do. It's not required. A lender does not require a home inspection. What type of loan you're getting, though, the appraiser may look for certain things. So we're going to go through the home inspection. There's like, I don't know, 2 pages of potential inspections that you can get. You can get a radon. Do you need a well inspection? Is this on well water? Is it on sewer? Public sewer, septic? What's it on? Do we want to get the septic pumped? Has the septic been pumped? Do we want to get a well test? Do we want to get a radon test? Do we want to get a home inspection and a termite inspection? Or do we want to wait until the home inspection is done? And if they see any evidence of termites, then fine, we get a termite guy out there. We're going to go through all of that. And when we get the inspection report back, we're also going to be like, okay, what are our options? I am all about options. I drive myself crazy with options. So you're going to know, what are my options? Do I have the option of walking away? Well, yeah, you do. What's our due diligence date? We've got to do it before the due diligence date is up, or you're going to lose any earnest money you put down. What if the seller says they won't fix it? We have options. What if it's too much? Can I get it fixed myself? What do I need to do about this or that or the other thing? What happens if the appraiser comes in and it's low? What are my options with that? Then you're going to reach this quiet zone where the lender's over here doing their thing, the attorney's over here is doing his thing, and you're not hearing anything from anybody. They will call you if they need you. They're probably going to ask you for some more documents. When you get close to the 11th hour, they're going to start asking you possibly for updated information, updated bank statements or that kind of thing. And you're going to wonder, did you not get that already? When a bank gives you a loan, when a lender gives you a loan, they will typically sell that loan to someone else. So then what they have to do, the lender has certain requirements that you have to meet. But then if they sell your loan, they've got to overlay who they're going to sell it to, their requirements. So that's why they may ask you for more documentation on things. We're going to go to the closing table together. We're going to sit there at the settlement table. And you're just going to be so grateful and wonderful and just so thrilled and happy. And you're going to sign your life away. And you're going to get the keys. And you are going to be thrilled to pieces. You're going to be breathing a sigh of relief. There are bumps in the road. There are some rough patches along the way, but we work through them. I had a client, this couple, and the wife was really getting stressed out. And they had had several children. And so I'm like, how can I explain to her that it's going to be okay? So then it was like, oh. So I said, remember when you were going to have your first baby? And she's like, oh, yes. And I said, remember how excited you were? And you wanted to paint the nursery and get a crib and all this kind of stuff. It was just really exciting time. She said, oh, yes. Yes, it was just wonderful. And I said, and then as you got closer into it, you went to the doctor and maybe things were okay, or maybe they needed you to have another test because something looked there was a blip on the screen. And so you kind of worried about that for a little bit, but you got through it okay. And then as you started getting closer to your due date, you started having some twinges and you're thinking, are those contractions? We need to go to the hospital. And the hospital's like, no, go home and walk for a couple hours. And so eventually you get to the day of birth. And you're going through those labor pains and yelling and screaming and what all. But when you hold that baby in your arms, all of that goes away. That's your focus. That is your baby. And all of this was worth getting to this moment. Your house is going to be your baby. When you get your key, it's going to be wonderful. It's going to be fine. It's going to be great. You'll get through it. Can you get through it on your own? Usually not. Most people don't have the expertise, the patience, or the negotiation skill to work through some stuff. I do have a certified real estate negotiation designation. I also have a senior real estate designation. That just means I've had more education in how to do certain things. You want somebody that's going to fight for you. You want an advocate. You want somebody who's going to tell you, listen, I don't care that you were approved for $250,000. Just because you can spend that much doesn't mean you should. So sometimes I do get into my Mama Beth role, and sometimes you need it. But what I'm going to do with you is I'm going to just lay it out there. I read the map. You drive the bus. If this is the first time you've bought a house, I want you to ask me anything you can possibly think of. There is no question that's a stupid question. There just isn't. You don't know how to do this. Maybe you've Googled the steps. Well, you know what? I can read how-to books all day long. But until I actually am doing acting to do this thing, I have no clue. So let us help you. If you have any questions, if you want to see a buyer agency agreement, just call me, 704-853-9060. Send me a text at the same number. You can email me at beth.helton@gmail.com. And I will send you one of these. I will put this, send this to you in an email. You can call me with any questions you have. But you need to understand things have changed. So in a nutshell, again, if you want to go see this, you have to sign this. Those things have changed. And again, like I said, this is going to happen in the next couple of months. So just be prepared and ask questions. If you meet with a realtor and they just say, sign here, sign here, sign here, you need to sit there and read it. We're also going to go through and have a consultation before we go see the house so that we can go over this. It might be through Zoom. It may be the night before. It might be the day of. But we got to sit down and go through this stuff. All right? So if you got any questions, reach out. Let me know what I can do for you. And we'll get through it. We'll make it happen for you.